I will try my best to go over everything we talked about in the original meeting because I think Screencastify deleted the audio or didn't record the audio. I'm not sure what happened there. But yeah. If I miss anything though, or if you're ever confused at any point, feel free to DM either me or Monvi, or post your question in the FTC programming chat. Right, yeah, this is the first meeting for FTC programming. Last year we did have some issues with scheduling when it comes to FTC programming in general. Like for example, we spent a lot of time on mechanical, and we didn't have enough time to spend on programming because programming does come later on in the pipeline than mechanical, for example, does. But we will have deadlines set this year, strict ones, so we will move on to programming and dedicate at least a week to it, no matter what. First of all, Java. Of course, programming involves actually being able to know how to code to an extent. At this point in the meeting, I did ask everyone to write how much experience they have with programming in general, with computer science, with FTC programming, if that's a thing that you have experience with, or FRC or something. Um, if you want to, you can still post it in the FTC programming chat. Um, if you have experience with a different programming language, for example, if you're more adept with Python or something else, W3 Schools is super helpful. People would recommend Java Docs, and from a textbook, that is a good idea. I personally find W3 Schools to be really good, especially as a reference, because it just has the topics here if you want to learn how to specifically, I don't know, print hello world or whatever. It tells you this, it gives you the specific syntax for that. It's really helpful. Now, if you are really dedicated, you have no programming experience, and you want to learn Java for the long term, there are a lot of courses available online. For example, there's this Udemy course that it is paid. It costs $9, $10. Um, that's if you're really dedicated. If you're not willing to pay money, there is this bald guy you can find online. Um, it's 2 hours long. It goes through everything. My friend used him to learn FTC programming. And if there are virtually an unlimited amount of resources online if you really do want to learn Java. How, However, I know some of you are super experienced. There's one kid who said he was USCO Silver, and I'm sure you have experience with that. However, FTC programming is almost its own language, even if you already know Java because of how specific the libraries and syntax can get there. So even if you know programming and know Java, you're gonna want to go through specifically like FTC programming resources. Game Manual Zero is super helpful for all FTC related things. If you were at Akhil's design meeting yesterday, you would probably you probably have seen this. It goes through everything. It's pretty brief, but it goes through every topic that you need to know. At and it's a good place to start. It goes through everything. It goes through some Java stuff as well, beyond just FBC things. However, I the one resource I found to be the most thorough is this beginner's guide to FTC book. I downloaded it again. Shoot. Um, it's this. It looks like a textbook that somebody typed up in latex or something, but it's not as cancerous as it seems. It goes through everything. It starts with basic Java stuff, for example, java.comments, regular comments. It's like the first thing you learn, and I'm sure it looks pretty basic. But if you want to do, even if you do have experience in Java, this is useful to go through for FTC specific things. Um, yeah, so whether you're a beginner or if you have more experience, this is a really useful resource. Another thing I found to be really helpful to do is stalking other people's code. There are a lot of repositories and whatever found online, and for example, there's this one random team's cookie bots. I don't actually know who they are. FTC 16379 for like a couple of years ago. This is their code, their setup. You can go through the basic Java SDK as well, but there is this if you want to see what another team's like final code look like implemented. Um, Brogan and Pratt is super useful as well. We used them last year. we had it's a playlist, and Manvi in the meeting she mentioned that he doesn't just make FTC programming videos, he makes FTC videos. He has something for almost every like sub team. So this is his playlist for programming at least, and yeah. There also this is not a limited list. There are so many more resources online. If you're ever confused about anything, Reddit, YouTube, Google, Claude, I don't know, anything you want, there are a lot of different places you can learn FTC programming. Again, if you have questions, feel free to DM me or Monvi or put it in the FTC programming chat. When it comes to software and hardware, preferably a Windows computer would be better, but if you have a Mac, it's not, or God forbid a Linux, it's not the end of the world. Please do not buy a Windows computer specifically for FTC. But also bring your personal computer to all meetings. We no longer have sub teams anymore because we figured that dissolving all sub teams and kind of integrating everyone into one thing and having everyone contribute to mechanical and have everyone contribute to design would be more efficient. But bringing your personal computer to all meetings would still be helpful regardless of whether we are or we're not doing programming in that specific meeting. Please also try to install Android Studio as soon as you can because doing it in real life just takes forever. We have spent meetings in the past, just everyone sits together in a circle and waits for their Android Studio to download, and we're gonna have to use it regardless, so just please do it preemptively, just download it as soon as you can. Also, download IntelliJ, that'd be helpful as well. And there are other libraries as you start exploring FTC programming. You will start seeing things like Roadrunner and other libraries. Try to download them early if you can. Um, Usually teams use either Roadrunner or Pedropathing. I'm not sure. They use either or. But Roadrunner is probably the one we're gonna be using. So look into that. Download it. So, miscellaneous words to know for now. In the meeting, we went a little more in depth into what each word is, but again, these are very easily Googleable things. So I'll just start. That's my Instagram. Sorry. Um, there. To start, an FTC SDK. It is the General Software Development Kit. It's like the FTC starter pack that first gives you. It's definitely worth looking through. Because we will be using it. Usually, for example, Game Manual Zero, the one resource I recommended earlier. Um, it's pretty universal. They do recommend like forking it, and that's usually what teams do, to start easily if you want to update anything. There's also op mode, operational mode. It's basically the main Java class used to create programs in the SDK, and every program you write to control your robot will inherit from this op mode class. And teleop, it's the driver control period of an FTC match. It's basically those last like 2 minutes or so of the FTC of your match in an actual game where you basically turn your robot into an RC car. And you control it with a remote, and you'd obviously program for that as well. Auton or autonomous or auto. Again, a lot of these words have synonyms, or other names that people call them. It's like the first 30 seconds of the match ish. That where the robot moves completely on its own without any outside interference. It's usually people have multiple auto programs like preset because you usually work with one other team ish, and making sure you choose the right auton program to be the most compatible with the other team and have the highest chance of success. You switch between different autos. Last year again we didn't really have multiple because we didn't schedule our things as well, but this year we're gonna have systems in place to make sure that doesn't happen again. An encoder is something that basically measures rotation of a wheel or shaft in ticks, not in seconds or inches or whatever. It's in ticks. Um, we will go more into sensors, and an encoder is not the only sensor we will be using, but this is one for now. Telemetry is basically what you use, send text and data and whatever back and forth between your driver station and the robot. And a PID or a PID loop, proportional integral derivative loop, but you can see why people shorten it to PID. It's basically an algorithm to drive a mechanism to a target. And we'll go more into that later. It's a bit more high level, but start with just Google everything. And September 12th at 12 p.m. is kickoff. We will be having like a team meeting or a live stream type thing where we all watch the thing together. So don't watch it early when it comes out, but be prepared early. Today the date is what, August 23rd. Try to prepare early. Because we have a lot of time and it is summer break, so try and do your due diligence. Um, Go through all these resources. Try to like familiarize yourself with FTC programming. If you have any questions at any point, I'm saying this again, DM me, Monvi, put in the FTC programming chat if you're brave, and yeah, hope you have a good season.